Legend whispers of a dynasty descended from royalty, a line of kings who ruled this ancient land for centuries. Ethiopia, a land of towering mountains and vibrant cultures, stands apart. But this story isn't just about kings and queens. It's about a man who defied empires, a man who inspired a global movement. Meet Haile Selassie I, the Lion of Judah. His reign would witness both the glory and the tragedy of 20th century Africa. For centuries, Ethiopia stood as a beacon of independence in a continent increasingly dominated by European powers. Its unique brand of Christianity, a blend of ancient traditions passed down through generations, set it apart. The Ethiopian royal line descended directly from King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, a powerful myth that imbued the emperors with a divine right to rule. This Solomonic dynasty reigned for centuries, expanding their kingdom southwards, absorbing diverse cultures along the way. The Amhara, with their strong Christian identity, dominated the highlands, while the Oromo, a predominantly Muslim people, inhabited the western regions. The Tigrayan people, known for their resilience, held sway in the north. This diverse tapestry of cultures and beliefs contributed to Ethiopia's unique character, but also presented challenges in maintaining unity. The 19th century brought new threats. European powers, hungry for colonies, encroached on Ethiopian borders. But then came Menelik II, a visionary leader who modernized the Ethiopian army, forging alliances and acquiring modern weaponry. In 1896, at the Battle of Adwa, Menelik's forces decisively defeated the invading Italian army, a resounding victory that shocked the world and solidified Ethiopia's independence. Menelik II also established Addis Ababa as the new capital, a symbol of his ambition to modernize and unify his empire. He embraced new technologies, improving infrastructure and fostering trade, laying the groundwork for Ethiopia's future. Born in 1892, in the town of Ejersa Goro, Liege Tafari Makonnen was destined for greatness. His father, Ras Makonnen, was a powerful governor and a close advisor to Emperor Menelik II. Tafari's upbringing reflected his noble lineage. He received a traditional education, steeped in Ethiopian history and culture, while also being exposed to modern ideas. As a young man, he was appointed governor of various provinces, honing his administrative skills and gaining valuable experience in governing diverse populations. However, the path to power was not without its obstacles. Emperor Menelik II, recognizing the young prince's potential, initially favored his grandson, Liege Ieyasu, as successor. Ieyasu, however, proved to be an erratic and unpredictable ruler. Rumors circulated about his conversion to Islam, deeply unsettling the Christian Ethiopian establishment. This instability threatened to destabilize the empire. Into this chaos stepped Tafari. Recognizing the growing discontent, he skillfully navigated the political landscape, gaining the support of key officials and military leaders. In 1916, Ieyasu was deposed, and Empress Zewditu, Menelik II's daughter, was crowned. But Zewditu, a more traditional ruler, lacked the political acumen of her ambitious cousin. Tafari, appointed regent, became the de facto ruler of Ethiopia. This period saw significant changes as Tafari embarked on a program of modernization, introducing Western-style education, improving infrastructure, and strengthening the military. He sought to modernize Ethiopia while preserving its unique cultural identity. In 1928, Tafari was crowned Negus, a powerful king, solidifying his power. But his ambition extended further. In 1930, following the death of Empress Zewditu, Tafari ascended to the throne, taking the name Haile Selassie I, meaning power of the Trinity. The coronation was a spectacle, a display of Ethiopian power and tradition. Haile Selassie, with his regal bearing and charismatic presence, projected an image of strength and authority, both within Ethiopia and on the world stage. As emperor, Haile Selassie continued his modernization efforts. He introduced Ethiopia's first constitution, establishing a parliament and laying the foundation for a more democratic system of governance. He sought to modernize the legal system, replacing the harsh Fetha Nagast laws with a more humane code. Infrastructure projects flourished, connecting remote regions and improving trade. The military was modernized, with the establishment of a military academy and the acquisition of modern weaponry. However, these reforms were not without their limitations. Despite the constitution, true political power remained concentrated in the hands of the emperor. And perhaps the most glaring omission was the continued existence of slavery. While officially abolished, the practice persisted in many parts of the country, a dark stain on the image of a modernizing nation. While Haile Selassie strived to modernize his nation, a new threat loomed on the horizon. In Italy, Benito Mussolini had seized power, establishing a fascist dictatorship. Driven by dreams of imperial glory, Mussolini sought to restore Italy to its former greatness, eyeing Ethiopia as a prize to be conquered. Tensions erupted in 1934 with the Walwal incident, a border clash between Ethiopian and Italian forces. This minor skirmish quickly escalated into a major diplomatic crisis. Italy, emboldened by its growing military power, demanded concessions from Ethiopia.
Ethiopia's emperor, Haile Selassie, appeared before the League of Nations. I must still fight on until my tardy allies appear, and if they never come, I say to you without bitterness, the West will perish.
Haile Selassie appealed to the League of Nations for support, but the response was weak. Britain and France, eager to appease Mussolini and avoid conflict, were reluctant to impose meaningful sanctions. The infamous Horlaval Pact, a secret agreement to cede Ethiopian territory to Italy, sparked international outrage and further undermined the League's credibility. The betrayal by the international community left Ethiopia isolated and vulnerable. The Italian invasion unleashed a brutal campaign of terror. The Italian army employed aerial bombardments and chemical weapons against civilian populations, leaving a trail of destruction and suffering. But the Ethiopian spirit was unbroken. Resistance movements sprang up across the country, with guerrilla fighters harassing the Italian occupiers. Haile Selassie, forced into exile in England, became a symbol of Ethiopian resistance. He tirelessly campaigned for international support. In 1941, Haile Selassie returned to Addis Ababa, greeted as a triumphant hero. The liberation of Ethiopia was a significant victory for the Allies and a powerful symbol of African resistance against fascism. The story of Haile Selassie's struggle resonated deeply across the African diaspora. His defiance of European imperialism and his unwavering fight for freedom inspired generations of activists and artists. Years later, Bob Marley, whose music often drew upon Rastafarianism, a movement that revered Haile Selassie as a messianic figure, found inspiration in the Lion of Judah. Marley's song War, with its iconic opening line, "None but ourselves can free ourselves," echoed the spirit of Ethiopian resistance and the struggle for liberation across the African continent. Haile Selassie's return to Ethiopia was met with jubilation, but the challenges of rebuilding the nation were immense. The war had devastated the country, leaving a legacy of destruction and suffering. The economy was in ruins, infrastructure needed to be rebuilt, and the wounds of war needed time to heal. Despite these challenges, Haile Selassie continued to navigate the complexities of the post-war era. He sought to modernize Ethiopia further, but also faced internal political pressures and the growing discontent of a younger generation. The task of rebuilding Ethiopia after the war was immense. The country faced significant economic and social challenges. On 27 August 1942, Selassie confirmed the legal basis for the abolition of slavery, a significant step towards social justice. Ethiopia became a charter member of the United Nations, playing a role in the emerging global order. However, challenges remained. The occupation of the Ogaden region by Somalia in the 1960s, the federation and subsequent annexation of Eritrea in 1950, and the devastating 1958 famine in Tigray highlighted the fragility of the nation. Internal dissent grew, fueled by economic inequality, political repression, and the rise of Marxist ideology. The 1966 tax reforms, intended to modernize the economy, sparked widespread protests. Concerns also arose over human rights issues, including reports of poor prison conditions and even mass killings in the 1970s. Student protests and military mutinies erupted, fueled by a desire for radical change. In 1974, the Ethiopian military, long a pillar of support for the emperor, staged a coup, overthrowing Haile Selassie and ushering in a new era of revolutionary change. The decades that followed Haile Selassie's overthrow were marked by further turmoil and instability. The Derg, the military junta that seized power, embarked on a radical socialist program that ultimately led to widespread famine and civil war. The 1984 famine, tragically documented by the Band Aid charity concert organized by Bob Geldof, brought the plight of the Ethiopian people to the world's attention. More recently, Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has criticized the Live Aid concert, arguing that it perpetuated harmful stereotypes about Africa. Despite the challenges of the past, Ethiopia continues to navigate a complex path towards a more prosperous and democratic future. Haile Selassie's legacy, however, remains a powerful one. He stood as a symbol of African resistance, a champion of independence, and a figure who continues to inspire generations. With that said, thanks for watching. And until next time.